It's time for our daily dose of cope. We have Sassy Leopardy, our newest news anchor for the Leopards News Network, and actually a Burby drew Sassy Leopardy for me. Now let's jump into these articles and see which faces are being eaten by leopards today. Here's Persephone. ProPublica is out here doing some amazing work. Trump has promised to build more ships. He may deport the workers who helped make them. VP Donald Trump has promised to increase the pace of U.S. military shipbuilding, but his pledge also clamp down on immigration could make it hard for shipyards already facing workforce shortages. Early last year, VP Donald Trump promised that when he got back into the Oval Office, he'd authorize the U.S. Navy to build more ships. It's very important because it's jobs, great jobs. However, the companies that build ships for the government are already having trouble finding enough workers to fill those jobs. And Trump may make it even harder if he follows through on another pledge he's made to clamp down on immigration. The VP has told his supporters he would impose new limits on the number of immigrants allowed into the country and staged the largest mass deportation campaign in history. Meanwhile, the shipbuilding industry, which he also says he supports and which has given significant financial support to Republican causes, is struggling to overcome an acute worker shortage. Immigrants have been critical to helping fill the gaps. According to a Navy report from last year, several major shipbuilding programs are years behind schedule, owing largely to a lack of workers. The shortfall is so severe that warship production is down to its lowest level in a quarter century. Shipbuilders and the government have poured millions of dollars into training and recruiting American workers. And as a part of a bipartisan bill just introduced in the Senate, they have proposed to spend even more. Last year, the Navy awarded nearly $1 billion in a no-bid contract to a Texas nonprofit to modernize the industry with more advanced technology in a way that'll make it more attractive to workers. The nonprofit has already produced splashy TV ads for submarine jobs. One of its goals is to help the submarine industry hire 140,000 new workers in the next 10 years. We build giants, one of its ads beckons. It takes one to build one. Still, experts say these robust efforts have so far resulted in nowhere near enough workers for current needs, let alone a workforce large enough to handle expanded production. We're trying to get blood from a turnip, said Shelby Oakley, an analyst at the Government Accountability Office. The domestic workforce is just not there. In the meantime, the industry is relying on immigrants for a range of shipyard duties, with many working jobs similar to those on a construction site, including on cleanup crews and as welders, painters, and pipe fitters. And executives worry that any future immigration crackdown or restrictions on legal immigration, including limits on asylum or temporary protected status programs, could cause disruptions that would further harm their capacity for production. Ron Wiley, not sure, the president and chief operating officer of All American Marine in Washington State, said that his company was clawing for workers. And Peter Duclos, the president of Gladding Hearn Shipbuilding in Somerset, Massachusetts, said the current immigration system is so broken that he was already having trouble holding on to valuable workers and finding more. There's no publicly available data that shows how much the shipbuilding industry relies on immigrant labor, particularly undocumented immigrant labor. Both Wiley and Duclos said that they do not employ undocumented workers, and industry experts say undocumented workers are unlikely to be working on projects requiring security clearances. However, reporting by ProPublica last year found that some shipbuilders with government contracts have used such workers. That reporting focused on a major Louisiana shipyard run by a company called Thomas C., where undocumented immigrants have often been hired through a third-party subcontractors. The story reported on a young undocumented Guatemalan immigrant who was helping build an $89 million U.S. government ship for tracking hurricanes. When he died on the job after working at Thomas C. for 2 years, neither the company nor the subcontractor paid death benefits to his partner and young son. ProPublica also reported that executives at Toma C, which declined to comment, had made tens of thousands of dollars in campaign contributions to Republican candidates. And I just underlined that just to drive home the point that they are putting Republicans in office, and Republicans are the ones that are pro-mass deportation, which impacts their industry. However, if Trump's last time in office is any guide, the shipbuilding industry wouldn't be exempted from any future crackdown. One of its final workplace raids under the Trump's first administration was conducted at an even larger shipbuilder in Louisiana called Bollinger. In July 2020, federal immigration agents arrested 19 unlawfully present foreign nationals at Bollinger's Lockport shipyard, according to a story in the Times-Picayune New Orleans Advocate. Immigration and Customs Enforcement refused to provide information on the raid. According to Bollinger's website, that yard produces U.S. Coast Guard and Navy patrol boats. 5 of the workers arrested were sent to an ICE detention, and 14 were released with pending deportation cases. Let's move on to this story. This one's titled, "So Free Speech is All Good so long as it's the free speech of the overlord. Say it ain't so. Who saw that coming? Not I." The wild thing is, we've been calling these people fascists for a while. How they really want to ban books, how they want to control everything, how they continue to lie. And Elon Musk swooped in and said he's going to be the free speech platform. He's a liar. These people are liars. But here is a tweet from Elon saying, algorithm tweak coming soon to promote more informational and entertaining content. We will publish changes to @xing, ENG. Our goal is to maximize unregretted user seconds. Too much negativity is being pushed that technically grows user time, but not unregretted user time. And the wild thing is, remember, he was coming for the necks of people. Him and his people were up here insulting MAGA. It was like MAGA on MAGA. It was really harsh. He was being mean. But then he put out something where he's like, send some butterflies and flowers. Y'all remember that tweet? All right. So Jasmine reposted that saying, we were lured here for the promise of free speech. We all jumped at the opportunity to pay to support the movement that leveled the playing field. We championed Leon and supported and welcomed him with open arms as he joined MAGA. Then we watched as account after account was demonetized, stolen subscribers, and eventually suspended. Now we're told to zone out on entertainment content and pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Only share positive content and pretend the world isn't burning down around us. What the F kind of game is this? The crazy thing is, they were not lured there by free speech. They were lured there because they were able to say whatever racist or sexist or bigoted speech that they could get away with. They could get away with it on Leon Scum's Twitter. And, now it's being turned on them and they're like, what? What? Some of the comments. You weren't lured with the promise of free speech. None of you wanted free speech. None of you asked for free speech. You were lured by the promise of getting to post slurs while a like-minded person limited people you disagree with. And then Professor says exactly this. And bald person or Baldy D says, I also love the comment about leveling the playing field. Those billionaires are sure going to do that. Foul Raw says they are leveling the playing field with a bulldozer to make room for their government subsidized real estate projects. Baldy D says, I thought you were referring to social housing for a moment, then it didn't add up at all. Kriegarian says, I get to say slurs and incite hate and violence against the people I hate. Is the right-wing definition of free speech, though. El Shaman says, yeah, they can go F themselves, and I'm glad that Leon is effing them over. Very well deserved. Yes, it is definitely giving leopards. Right, Persephone? Ghoulie says, wouldn't it be something if it turns out Leon is playing 4D chess and his end goal is socialism? Let's talk about Black MAGA. Black MAGA is not getting those black jobs at all. They did all that shucking and jiving for MAGA, and they are not getting any of these jobs. How strange. Super duper weird. While Black Americans overwhelmingly remained with the Democratic Party this year, Trump had a number of prominent Black supporters who went the extra mile to fight for his election. But with Trump preparing to take office, Black MAGA has reaped little rewards for their year of efforts. Tatiana Tandapoli wrote for Salon. Black ultra-conservative elected officials like Florida Representative Byron Donalds and South Carolina Senator Tim Scott frequently joined Trump on the campaign trail, boosting the then candidate's outreach to the Black electorates as they sat on the shortlist for his VP pick, wrote Tandapoli. And yet, their efforts to curry favor with the would-be president-elect didn't materialize in sought-after cabinet positions, despite the president-elect's promises to reward his most loyal supporters with high-ranking jobs in his administration. None of those Black politicians were chosen for the ticket, with Ohio Senator J.D. Vance getting that slot. In fact, she noted, Trump has only picked one Black person for his cabinet. Scott Turner, a relatively unknown former Texas lawmaker, ex-football player, and motivational speaker who will head up the Department of Housing and Urban Development, which Trump had previously filled with right-wing neurosurgeon Ben Carson, the only cabinet that seems like it's okay for Black people, according to Trump, apparently. Meanwhile, one of the supposed biggest rising stars in the GOP, Mark Robinson, was unceremoniously abandoned by the GOP after their lack of vetting before his candidacy for governor of North Carolina derailed his campaign with previously unseen internet posts in which he identified himself as a Black schnazi. For their part, Trump's Black surrogates largely remain loyal to him in public, with Donald telling CNN in response to the questioning about the administration's lack of diversity in cabinet nominations, if the cabinet picks help deliver the America First agenda that Donald Trump wants, this will be an unmitigated success, and every American will be happy with that. And that is hilarious. They have to say that because they can't be like, oh my God, he's not hiring us, because then everybody will point to the fact that they were against DEI and affirmative action. All right, y'all, let me know what you think about these posts. Join the conversation and don't forget to like, comment, and share.